So, thank you, Jeff. It's a little bit blurry. Hopefully you can see the slides are very simple. So, Jeff asked me to come by and to talk about the future of the real-time web and sort of give a state of where we are in terms of the evolution of the real-time web. And so I did a little bit of... In 10 minutes. I've done a few of these before. So I did a little bit of thinking, and it was last night, this morning, some ideas came together. The first thought was, I want to do this a little bit more slowly than when I've done them before. I kind of rushed through them, and so I'm just going to do the 10 minutes slowly, and so I can think about one or two things instead of like trying to jam everything in. I feel like that we're creating our futures today faster than we can conceive of what a future will be, and so it's important and it's an opportunity at events like this to step back a little bit and think. So, drip, drip. We're going to go slowly. So Jeff asked me to talk about the evolution of the real-time web and how it's changing. I think this year, I think we'll look back on 2012 and we'll realize that that we reached a critical mass in terms of the connectivity that's happening at the platform level. And so let me just share some data with you. So it took Twitter 2 years to reach 1 million users. It took Guilt 2 years to reach 1 million users. It took Dropbox about 7 months. And yet Instagram got to 27 million users in 15 months. 27 million people. They got to 1 million users within 2.5 months. Path reached 1 million users in 2 weeks. And then you've got insane examples like Draw Something, the game, that got to, that was downloaded. I have to read this again because I always forget. It's just, these numbers are crazy. It was downloaded 36 million times in its first 6 weeks. So, okay, downloaded is a big deal, but what about users? Within that time frame, there were about 15 million, 12 to 15 million daily active users. I remember when they were going through that insane growth spurt, Dan Porter, the CEO, emailed me on sort of day 12, and he said, as you read this email, we will have crossed 4 million downloads. 96% of them are viral, and there's been 100 million drawings on Draw Something. As I write this, we're processing 360 drawings a second. They brought down an Amazon cluster. It was an insane growth story. But what's happening there and what's happening here? I feel like we've reached this point in 2012 where we've crossed over a line and we are now, things are getting to scale really quickly. And we're seeing it on apps, we're seeing it on sites, we're seeing it on services, and we're even seeing it on sort of basic web pages. So how many people in the audience read this article about the Goldman Sachs, by the Goldman Sachs executive? Yeah, about half of you. So I was talking with the people at the Times about this article, and so the day that this article was published, it went out early. It went out around 5 a.m., I believe, because the guy's actually based out of the Goldman Sachs office in London. It was on the web very early, and by between 10 and like 1 p.m. New York time, this article had about half the traffic that the New York Times site normally has on the entire site were on this article, were on one page. So this one page was a top 5 news site in the world, just this one page, for about 4 hours. And you know, the people at the Times, they haven't seen this kind of phenomenon before. Even when Mona Simpson, when Steve Jobs, when she wrote the obituary for Steve Jobs, they didn't get this kind of social pickup. So something is different, something is changing. And I think that what we've reached is we've reached sort of a scale, a new scale in terms of in terms of the connectivity of the social web. And yet, you don't really know if there's a party going on a website. Pages haven't changed. So you go to that page, that Goldman Sachs opinion piece, and you don't know that there's 100,000 other people on that page right now. You have to go over to other tools and other platforms to see that. So I think we're tumbling into this new network of connectivity, and it's changing the way we should think about web pages, we should think about websites, and we should think about social. We should think about it we should think about all this as a network, because we are building networks of connectivity here. We should think about it as being nonlinear. All of these things are subject to power laws, so the structure of them is different. And we should think about it in the context of a new architecture. It's really an architecture which looks more, and what becomes more important is event notifications and understanding when these bursts are happening and how you can track them, and being there at the right time and having the tools to understand them, and being able to understand how you can participate. And then also understand when you don't want to participate, because all this has pull to it. There's gravity to all of these networks. And yet, this social gravity, I think, tends to obfuscate the importance for individualism and for the fact that, yes, we're building these incredible tools for collectivism and collective thinking. Yet, we've got to, at the same time, build very, very strong platforms and tools for individuals to sort of pursue solitary thinking and solitary affairs, because the two of them are complementary, the two of them need to coexist. And I think right now we're spending so much time driving everything into social. We also need to understand how we drive things into an individual sense of quality and creativity and just sort of individual thinking versus collective thinking. I'm reading a book now by Andrew Keen, and he talks about, or uses the term, he says, we're becoming our own collective image. And I think that as we move through and as we develop this new stage of the social web, there's this collective image that we're creating of ourselves needs to be contrasted with an image of ourselves as individuals and what it means to still be an individual. 1:27. Attribution. The nice icons come from a thing called the Now Project, which is a website, and they let you download all these nice icons, but they like you to attribute, so here's some attribution. And thank you.